Archers, attack! Keep firing! Let none escape! Another down! Do not relent!
Welcome to episode 232 of Another Pod, Do Not Relent. We've got a lot of WoW story to talk about, and I'm super excited. I'm Slidewhistle.
'Tis I, Immunization, and I'm excited to talk about blue dragons.
And it's me, Aaron, Fire Mage Extraordinaire and Horde Punching Bag, and like a certain little goblin we'll mention later, I've got a big bag of riches, and you'll never get any of them. Wink.
Oh shit, I forgot about the Diablo event. There's a lot happening in WoW right now. It's a great time to be a gamer, unless you don't like story, and that's fine if you don't.
You know, it's a big, diverse world full of a bunch of stories, but if you don't want to do stories or anything, I guess just ignore this first 15 or so.
Yeah, so we got new main campaign quests, which, well, they were labeled as main campaign quests, but they weren't like part of the like 6 out of 7 or whatever. And this is a quest line that started in Veldraken with Caligos, and basically it ties up all of the loose ends that we've previously had with the blue Dragonflight. Like primarily, like, where the fuck are all of them?
Yeah, it was cool. Like, I guess, like, where do we even start? Like, from the beginning, I guess?
I mean, yeah, that's fair. So the whole thing is, he's like, well, one, he's like, come meet me at Blue Dragonflight house. So we go all the way out there, and then he was like, just kidding, we're going to the Blue Dragonflight graveyard, the Veiled Ossuary at the top of Thaldratheth, and we've done things here before. There was like a yellow exclamation, but not shield yellow exclamation quest up here, but we haven't gone back, and I guess that's what we're doing now.
Yeah, we're hanging out. We were hanging out in the graveyard shift, and honestly, that was already kind of crazy. Like at the beginning, when it was like, these are the bones of the dragons that have all died here, or have all the dragons of the Blue Dragon fight that have ever died try to come back here and die. And I'm like, so like when cats die?
Yes, it was very. It was a spit in my face as a Wrath guy, because everyone said Dragonblight was the place to be. And now Senegos reveals, nope, this is actually where we die. We just all, once this got covered up by a big fog, we decided, Dragonblight's a close second.
Yeah, so as you just mentioned, we were questing in this blue Dragonflight graveyard with our boy Senegos, and we've mentioned this before, but I feel like in particular, the blue Dragonflight story beat in this expansion is like our coming to old age in WoW. Like, these are characters that we knew in some of our like early expansions, and they are growing up and like getting more story. I'm really excited about it. And okay, so you mentioned the ossuary, which is where we are during this, and I was gonna ask you, but like you just kind of answered it too. Like, I was like, did they add this for the storyline? Because like I don't remember doing anything here.
It was an area with a bunch of empty caves. Maybe there was rubble in front of it. I remember going over there with a like on all fours Draconid who pointed their sword at it and were like, "This is a crazy place." And then you go like, "What's it about?" It's like, I don't know, but kill 20 bugs and then get some Valdraken experience and we'll leave.
Yeah, I wanted to rewind a bit to what Immune was saying about Senegos. So, like, if you're not familiar with him, he's like the big blue old dragon that you meet in Legion with everyone's favorite little baby, Emigosa and Stellagosa.
He was the one who was dying in a pit of mana that the Withered were trying to consume, basically.
Now, I know Emigosa was the little whelp that couldn't. We had to pick her up and put her on our back as we threw her into the pool. Siragosa, was she just like a child? I'm trying to think. What was...
Stellagosa?
She wasn't... Yes, his granddaughter. What... How did we
quested
see
with her
last?
during that storyline as well? Like we quest in Azuna, we quested with both her, I think she gave about half the quests and he gave half the quests, so like they were together.
Was she a dragon or was she a lady?
I feel like most of the time she was in her visage form.
Yeah, because though that sect of the Blue Dragonflight comes from the Azure not the Azure Span. They're the Azure wing of Azuna. Lots of Az's going on over there.
Yeah, and then so correct me if I'm misinterpreting this, but Senegos basically said that before all the dragons left the Dragon Isles, he, as a young dragon, was the gravekeeper at the ossuary.
He was the grave digger at the ossuary dome.
Thank you for picking up on that obscure reference.
Grave digger, and they put him there because he was like a young, like, snotty bitch, basically, and he was rude, and they're like, you need to learn the lessons of life. And one of the lines he said, which I wrote down, I'm trying to keep notes, so I'm on top of this now. He said, "It wasn't until the War of the Ancients that I took this seriously." That's kind of fucked up. I feel like he was probably the gravekeeper for a while before the War of the Ancients. So what was he doing? Like,
for
yeah,
several thousand years, my man was he was in charge of this place. He was like, I'm just lowballing it.
Also, like, maybe not a lot of blue dragons died, like, during the time when he was originally that, so he was just, like, you know, just chilling, fucking around, rolling up bugs into giant orbs, playing, like, his PlayStation 1 game of, like, Blue Dragon Katamari.
That quest, I can't wait for that to be a world quest. That was so fun. Like, it's so basic, just rolling them up, but it was awesome to do.
It came in waves. I was like, wow, this is a ball, like, stick 'em up quest. This is Katamari Damacy, like, the rolling's fun. And then he was specifically like, send it up to the king of the cosmos. And I was like, no way!
Yeah, I love how he was like, yeah, you know, the other blue dragonflight didn't really approve of my methods, but this is my invasive species removal spell. And I'm like, this is how you get rid of them? So if he's removing invasive species, that means that he is technically the DNR of the ossuary. So he's a member of the DNR army.
I also like how, because I believe at the end of this quest line, then, like, Alexstrasza, like, arrives, and she's like, oh, I saw your orb. That was you, right? I remember those orbs from back in the day. You always rolling around.
She would be the queen of the cosmos for the dragon people, so it tracks. And she does rock a good pair of hot pants, like my friend King of the Cosmos. So, you know, everything's lining up here. But yes, you mentioned Alexstrasza is there, and that is because they are finally going to correct the record and write down all of the names of the dead blue dragons, including their former aspect, Malagos, and his bride, Sindragosa.
Yeah, we had a lot of updates for these little tablets, as well as just, like, putting a bunch of new tablets, which, like, really, like, drives home how long it's been since anyone's been here.
There were a couple that were super sad. Like, it was like Maligosi, Paligosi, Taligosi, all lost. And then you did, like, your little etching animation. And then you click on it again, and it's, like, super fucking dead. Killed by betrayal. And then there were a couple that were, like, killed by Growlina, and I was like, oh, beans. I mean, sorry.
I mean, we'll get into this later, but have we checked the gravestones after we finished the quest? Did they update it further?
I don't know. I haven't gone back. No.
The first thing I'm going to do after recording or on the break is go to the ossuary and read the gravestones again.
But after updating all of the dead and things like that, Caligos is like, you know, this has really got me thinking about a bunch of random blue dragons that I knew. Tell you what, I worked with Aragos and Senegos and all these guys, and we've tracked down 5 of my favorites, or just 5 ones randomly scattered to the world. You then got the chance to choose which of these you went to go visit on a series of wacky capers.
It was very much so like, we're at the start of an expansion and here's a quest map and you choose your adventure.
It immediately gave me Legion vibes of being in the... God, I want to say Azure Span, but the Legion Zone. And because like you have the 5 things to pick from. And it's funny how like different they vary in length of questing.
Yeah, which one did you guys all do first?
I started with Theramore.
I started with Zeros in Booty Bay.
I also started with Booty Bay, which I think those two were probably the longest two, I think.
Well, certainly Zeros' quest was long because so he's in trouble with a goblin sort of mafioso guy. And one of the parts of the quest is like you need to shake down a different guy, but he's got 6 guards who you have to bribe. But that should be fast. He's got a bunch of guards. You can just throw money at him, right? Well, when you do this day 1 like Jaboy, there are 78,000 players swarming around. So it's tough to click on the guys. And when you do, you start casting. Oops, someone was already 60% through their cast, and now it doesn't. So I was actively having to be like just clicking on a spot like it was the greased pig in Freehold.
Oh god.
And then people would walk in front of me and I'd be like, fuck off. There's a guy that's going to be here in a couple seconds, and if you make me misclick him, I'm so mad.
Oh my god, I was lucky that like it was not quite so busy. It was still kind of busy, but like not anywhere near that busy when I was there.
Also, we're kind of bearing the lead a little bit here because this entire quest chain has so much voice acting. Probably the most voice acting in a quest chain, right? Like almost every single aspect is voice acted.
Yeah, this is definitely the most that we've seen other than like
the main
the
storyline.
quest. Yeah, the main story of Dragonflight, and even more so than like the supplemental chapters. Like this quest chain has more, I'd say, than even parts of
Than
like
the
the
caverns,
Zaralek.
yeah.
Dare I say, there's almost too much voice acting to the point to where like each goblin that you're bribing. So like I was doing that bribing today, not day one, and I just hear like, oh yeah, you bought me off. Hey, I'm gonna kill you, and they're all talking at once, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like a cacophony of sounds.
Yeah, I also like I assume you could probably do this entire Blue Dragonflight storyline like pretty quickly. Like if you don't read anything and just go through it, it's probably like an hour and a half at the very most. But like I like took a lot of time on the storyline, and like because like the first time I ever do questing, I like wait around to see if there's any like voice acting or even just like text that anything says, and you know they're all like almost all of it was voice acted. I'm like, damn, they put a lot of work into this quest chain.
So if you're a no sounder, turn your sound on because it's important. Honors.
Fuck you! In Chinese!
But yeah, I think like the connotation here is that like we're tracking down all of the blue dragons that did not answer Caligos's call when he first became an aspect and needed help, right?
Yeah, so he's like, why didn't you answer me, bitches?
Yes, and you find out it's for various reasons. Like Booty Bay, it's Zeros, who's like, oh my god, Goblin Crunkshank has me by the balls. That's why I can't leave. To, like, you go to Theramore, which is another one of the more compelling ones, and you meet up with, her name is like Siragosa, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, and she's over here like, rogue mages are sniffing around Theramore trying to recreate the mana bomb that destroyed it. Help me kill them all. We need to squish this magic problem at the source. And that when you're with Caligos, he's like, no, we need to teleport them somewhere. Surely there's a magic answer for this magic arcane problem.
Yeah, this storyline in general was like the Theramore one was interesting because it was kind of like story progression in the sense of like it's Caligos proving himself to the other blue dragons that are, I don't know, maybe like more established or like whatever in their ways, and Caligos is like, no, we're breaking the cycle. We're not going to do everything just like violently and aggressively. Like we can do things a new way because like the old way was like what like destruction and like gave the blue dragons a bad rep and like made them the enemy of the people of Azeroth.
Oh, I mean, Aaron especially, right? You were their enemy for a while. You were a mage. They hated you.
Yes, I was about to say, and they were meeting this legitimate problem, but with the same situation. They were like, yeah, a bunch of mages are fucking around with magic they're not supposed to have. Let's just gut them again. And that's like literally what we were doing in 3.3 of Wrath.
Yeah, but it's just cool, like how he literally, how they're like, he has to establish himself. Like the Blue Dragonflight is not just gonna let him take this lead. Who was the sassiest one again? It was it Azurgos?
Yeah, I think so. He also like I noticed that he had some really in his visage form. I haven't seen a visage form like his before, where he had like goat horns.
Yeah, he looked really cool. It was also, and I know they can't make custom models. It was very funny because he's stylized to be this old cranky man, and then he visage forms, and it's like this hot, like 25-year-old, sweaty, beefy blood elf guy, and I'm like, okay. I guess you literally can be whatever you want to be. So he's like, I want to be fucking tasty.
He's visage fishing. Visaging?
Visaging.
He got his nephew to get on the phone with the other blue dragons. And then when they finally go out, it's like, oh my God, are you Ethan? It's like, I can't believe I got visage fished.
Viz fished.
He has some of the best like greeting lines when you talk to him though. He was like, oh, it's you. Like damn, okay, dude. Like what the fuck?
There was one at Theramore. I clicked on him accidentally because I was trying to click on like I think like Caligos, and they're standing near each other. And he goes, well, I guess it wasn't important anyways, huh? And I was like, don't shame me, sir, just because I had wandering mouse.
So fucking good. They put a lot of like work into like the voice acting of this zone. It's just it's so well done. I love it. Now I do agree that the questing, they definitely just is this filler to give you the story delivery, right? They're like, go open this book while the story happens, and I'm like, okay, I'm opening the book, but why are you having me do this?
The one in Winter Spring was like that a bunch. It was with Hallie, which is funny because she was kind of a silly little lady, but it was also like, yo, that was Malagos's main squeeze number 2. And it's like, her? This one? But yeah, hers was a lot of like, go click on sticks. And you went and you clicked on them and then came back and she was like, go click on these 3 items. And then you do that. And it's just like, and then now you're with Cinderghost and she's like, she's upset. Go click on the water. And I was like, I feel like I'm, and, you know, WoW is not especially like, it doesn't take a lot of your memory, but I'm like, this one is especially useless.
Yeah, she gets in the hot spring and then she becomes a dragon and she's like, oh, you know what? I'm relaxed now. Maybe I will join you guys. And I'm like, all you had to do was get in this hot spring that you've been sitting next to for how many years now?
You've been over here in Winter Spring solving magic solutions, and I did it in 10 minutes by clicking on 4 things.
To be fair, Sindragosa, or like the simulacrum or whatever of Sindragosa, was like, Hallie, you've never been here? This is like literally 5 seconds away from where you were like 10 seconds ago. How did you not know these hot springs were here?
She was too busy. Wait, was her voice acting fucked up for you guys? Because for me, when I was
trying to do British, so it's not fucked up, but it's like, she was like, oh my goodness. And I was just like, oh, that's what you sound like, huh?
She was just like, 386 entry. And
wrong.
Then she would repeat
that's
it.
the wrong. That's the wrong
300.
woman. That's a different one. That's the Crystal Song Forest.
That's
one.
Hallie. You said Hallie. That's Hallie.
That's not Hallie. Her name is something weird. Haleh. That's the one in Winter Spring.
Oh yeah. So,
but also, yes, that one in Crystal Song.
Lanigosa. Lanigosa is the one in Crystal Song.
Damn, poor Hallie was so unmemorable.
Yes, her voice, because she does that whenever someone spawns in. So especially doing it day 1, it was constantly looping, and I was just like, bitch, I'm out of here. You're breaking down.
Yeah, you're basically just assembling a new badass crew of like, well, half badass crew of blue dragons to replace, you know, all the fucking dead and or dying ones.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just like looking up a Wowhead article about all these dragons too, and like the Lanigosa and Hallie storylines also are very similar, and they're both elves and they both have books, so that's probably why we're a little confused here.
And I definitely sped my way through them the most.
Also, they're both in snowy areas.
Any of these exist before, or are these all like made up new for like this zone story? Or like was like Hallie like someone you quested with at all, like in the old days? Like, is that a thing?
I don't know.
The only one I can speak to is the final one, the final, I'd say, impactful one. Kirigosa is real. This is a real character.
So, like, is she like the daughter of Sindragosa and, Malagos?
Okay, everybody, I believe everybody does exist. Hallie does. She was a cata quest giver. So she had a bunch of quests leading up to her stuff. So yeah, I think they're all just based in lore. We just haven't seen any of these guys because they're old.
Or like, I don't know. I probably did their quests at some point when I was on the path to Lore Master, but then just like forgot because I did them all really fast back to back.
I do know that Kirigosa is actually a book character first. You saw her or read about her in Thrall, Twilight of the Aspects, in which she got ticketed by the Twilight's Dawn, or the Twilight Cult, whose name I can't 100% pin down right now. And I believe was this close to like becoming an egg factory.
Oh god.
So it was some real heavy stuff. So that's why, spoilers, when you meet her in Pandaria, she was like, I'm having a lot of fun in Pandaria. And then Caligos is like, I'm glad. You should come back and do blue Dragonflight stuff. And she's like, actually, fuck that. Like, last time I hung around with y'all, I almost became a baby factory. So, no.
I like how when you first fly in to approach her, she's just like on a giant rock dancing, like with her blue magic. She's using her blue magic to like just like dance of like a fire dance. I'm like,
I had notes here on my phone, and yeah, the first one for Karagosa was, why is she busting it down sexual style?
she wants to get down. Zeros, the gnome from Booty Bay, also existed, although very lightly, but we technically hung out with him first, guys. He's a blue whelp who was held captive by Normantis, the Disposed, in the lair of the Deposed in Azuna. He was in Legion. When he's killed, Zeros flies out of the cave and disappears, and we don't see him again until now.
Oh, is he like Emigosa's age then?
Must
yeah,
be.
he's real young.
I love that we're dating dragons compared to... Okay, how was the size compared to Emigosa in Legion? Like, that's our dating scale for blue dragons now.
Yeah, the blue dragons have existed for millennia, and they've existed in the lore for, like, dozens of years. And we're like, give it to me from a 2015 perspective, please. But he did say that he was hella young, because when you talk to him, someone's like, really? Middle-aged gnome? And he was like, I had to pick a visage form that would trick people into thinking I was a lot older.
Also, like, his visage form sucked, too. I don't know if you noticed this, but Slide and I were talking about it before we started recording, that, like, all their other visage forms blend in. But, like, his eyes are, like, molten blue. They're, like, very obvious. Like, this is not just a gnome.
So, it could be, in the narrative, yes, he's bad at it, but also, a lot of the new ones, they do that. Like, if you notice, like, Abyssian's eyes are, like, bright orange. I think the new dragon models, the new visage form models, they started doing that. These other guys probably don't have it just because they are like Kata quest givers.
I think the simulacrum of Sindragosa, I guess she has it too now that I think about it.
Yeah, but like I always thought that was just because like she's just a simulacrum. But
I prefer your thing that he like is very lizard-like because he doesn't know how to do it yet. In my RP head, I'd like to think that's the reason.
Also, because, like, he, as we established, he's the same age as Emigosa, but, like, let's talk about Emigosa for a second. Like, she's even, like, gone up in age since we last saw her. Like, her model, can we talk about that for a second? It's, like, weird as fuck looking.
She's still in her awkward, juvenile raptor age where she looks like a fucking Jurassic Park character. She looks horrifying. I can't wait for her to grow up already.
Yeah, it's like that thing where, like, we were talking about how, like, cats, like, when they're no longer a kitten, but they're not an adult yet, and they look like this little weird in-between thing, and then it just makes you go, ugh.
So, for whatever reason, her nameplate wasn't above her, so I saw this, like, creature, and I was like, is this someone's hunter pet? Or I'm like, is this their pet? You know, they have, like, a blue lizard that hangs out with them. And then I clicked on it, and it was like, you know, Emigosa, who you personally saved with your hands. You preferred dragon CPR on her, and I was like, oops.
DPR.
DDR.
Okay, wait, sorry. I know this is very disjointed because there's so much story to talk about, but back to Zeros in the Booty Bay quest, right? So he's in a bad deal with goblins. Goblins have crashed the auction house. They've taken his crystals. They've devalued everything he's selling. So you have to go talk to somebody to get his options back. Did you guys opt to pay the man gold, to pay the goblin gold, or did you go get the crocolisk hides?
So at first, they're like, you can offer to pay gold, and it was like 1,000 gold. And I was like, I want to try it, like, just speed things up here. So I offered to pay 1K. And then he was like, actually, it's going to be 2K. And then I tried to haggle him down. He's like, you're going to try to haggle me down? Actually, it's 3K now. I'm like, fine, bitch. I'm just going to go get these fucking hides then.
Wait, how long did it take you to get the hides? Because I just paid him 3K, because I did the same path
I
you did.
definitely just paid him 3K. I was like, I can make $3,000 in like a couple days. I'm good.
Well, so, joke's on y'all, it was quick. Like, I flew over to the longest time was like flying over to the island, and even on my priest, it was just killing 3 of these little ads that were there, and like they all it was like it seemed like a 100% drop rate, so that was nice at least.
I love that. They were like, let's make us a gold sink. Let's take some gold for the economy and put it back into the auction house.
That's 100% what it felt like to me.
10.2, every quest is going to be given to you by like Gilbo Crashank. And it'll be like, you gotta save the dragon aspects. You need to summon 8 motes of energy. Or I don't know, 8K? Yeah, just because people will. There's certain quests where people are like, they know that drop rate's doo-doo. So it's like, okay, I will pay you $10,000 to get out of this.
Pay the man.
But all of these come together and you go to Caligos. I can't say that. Some of them are real young. And Caligos is like, finally, we are a flight united. And then here comes Senegos, and he's like, oh no, our flight's not united. Remember when we put all those blue guys to rest? Well, Malagos and Syndragos are pissed.
Yeah, their spirits are causing a ruckus up here in the Asuasuary.
Asuasuary. Man, I'm just thinking about how creepy the ossuary is. That's a creepy ass place to be.
Also, like, I don't know if it was just like happened to be when I was questing there, or is it just always raining there?
The sad place when dragons die.
You know what? It fucks me up. I have never gone where it's not raining. Maybe they program it to always be sad there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a graveyard, I guess. A graveyard where they don't bury the dragons and. They just okay, not to like derail this too much, but like I had this thought. I was like, so there's just dragon bones in these chambers, unburied, like not in caskets. So did dragons just physically go there, lay down, and say like, I'm taking a nap here until I perish, and then they just fully decided to just let themselves decompose there until they were just bones?
Isn't that what Dragonblade is? Isn't that what they were doing there?
So that's kind of what it seems like. It's literally a room where they just go in, no furniture, no comfort, and they're just like, I'm gonna die. Now this begs the question. So now there's a constant stream of adventurers going in and out of the ossuary. What are the odds that we're gonna be doing a quest and then a dragon's like, please keep it down. I'm just trying to die in the corner over here.
Please dismiss your disco toy. I'm trying to die in peace.
Please stop throwing the fish at me. I want dignity in my death.
I am mere moments away from death. Stop kneeling and clapping on me. I beg of you.
And was it their request that their skulls be put on the dragon statue? Because each dragon statue in these morgue rooms had a dragon skull on top of a regular dragon statue. Who did that? I mean, was it Senegos?
Well, maybe it was during his like hot young days where he's like, you know what would be really funny? Taking this skull and putting it on this statue.
Suck it, Baragos, you fucking plebe. Now you're on top of the statue.
Well, he also did say some dragons can request where they die or where their bones be placed. So maybe Baragos was like, hey man, when I die, put my head on top of the other dragon. It looks so sick. He's like, oh, I guess I could do that. Isn't that like desecrating your bones? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's like the dragon equivalent of like, I want my ashes to be spread across some place I like. And like Bartagos is like, I want my skull to be placed on top of this tall statue.
Spread my ashes at the Oakland County wave pool.
Oh my god. Put my ashes at the big bucket at the wave pool.
I want it to spill on some 5-year-olds and knock out of the ground.
Sprinkle my ashes at the Haunted Mansion at Disney World so that my arcane being can be dust vacked at the end of the night.
My simulacrum can ride the ride for eternity.
But there's silly business happening at the ossuary, and then you realize Jake Hazy's, Malagos, and Syndragos have flown the coop, and now they're in the Azure Vault in an instance there. And they become huge dragon ghosties, and I just gotta say, Blizzard is fucking out of pocket. Why does Syndragosa's ghost, why is she still bones? You didn't want to put any meat on her? I know that's the model we have for Syndragosa because she got brought back in Wrath, but like, you couldn't have whipped up another one for her?
Well, I think so. What it's saying here is that like their spirits were okay because when we were at the ossuary, basically all of the miniature stories combined together to explain what was happening about how these spirits were trapped in a stasis form of when they were like at their like as they were perishing, they were like in like a vulnerable, like violent, like unhappy state. So they're like these spirits are like trapped in that. So like that's probably why she is in that form, because that was the form that was traumatic to her, and we need to like soothe that, I assume, is what it's trying to say here.
Well, then, like, and at that point, it was so creepy because, like, it was like you have these two energy balls before you summon them, and it's like there's cries of eternal anger and rage and pain and eternal torture, and I'm like, God, that's like, imagine that.
Oh, and then like so like you're fighting like the echo of Syndragosa, and your ally is the simulacrum of Syndragosa. So she's like, oh, my cries of anguish, like, talking about like the echo of hers cries of anguish. I'm like, this is fucking weird. Why am I in the middle of this?
Yeah, this is too personal for me to be here. I'm not even a dragon. Like, I'm a Drakthir.
I did appreciate that I got to see her inner turmoil and her hold back. She's not truly upset. And it was mostly just because I didn't have any of my cooldowns and I was just not doing well at the fight.
I was going to say, I had to stop hitting. I was like, okay, I'm going to kill her. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, it was 2 seconds in and she's almost dead and they're talking. I'm like, so I just stood there and I just stared at her for like 25 seconds waiting.
I definitely kept using the big button at the wrong time. So she hit me with like anguish beam. I would have to sit there in my ice block and recover.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, what a dramatic fight. And I was just like, sorry, guys. It's just because I'm bad right now.
No, I thought like same on my priest. I think it was just the timing of the spells. Like there's just something that like locks you in place, and then like halfway through the fight, the abilities got desynced, and I was able to dodge it. But like there was a set like half of the fight where I was unable to dodge it.
That's so funny because I was like, couldn't they made her stronger? I'm like, she's pretty fucking weak. I'm blasted her.
I mean, I never felt like I was in danger, but like I got down to like 70% health, and then I was like, oh, I'll use this extra action button to heal myself.
But in the end, you talk to them with Kalagos and you realize you don't need to hold on. You guys can go into the afterlife. And the ghosts of Malagos and Syndragosa leave, and I'm like, ha ha ha, whatever. Isn't that right, shimmery mommy? And you go for a high five, and what do you find? The simulacrum of Syndragosa also left. And I was like, turn it back. If I quit the quest now, I can hold on to her.
I think I really like that because, like, they're like, you know what? We don't need her anymore. The thing is resolved. I was a little worried that she was going to stick around and be like this advising voice to Kalagos. And I'm like, she doesn't need to be. She could be gone, you know?
I think she was programmed to be a mentor to the future aspect of the Blue Dragonflight. And I feel like this entire storyline proved to the simulation or whatever and everyone that Kalagos is ready now. So she's like, goodbye, I'm gone now. I am booting down. Goodbye.
Now, do we think that she left because he's ready, or do you think she left because finally Kalagos had visited Pandaria for the first time? My boy had never been to Pandaria before.
He was looking at the Pandarians and be like, oh, whoa, what the fuck is this? Kalagos, you've seen a million of these, surely. I don't know anything about fucking talking bears.
Meanwhile, I'm questing with my Pandaren hunter. Like, I've been questing with him, like, for years now, and he's like, oh.
He was like, I just thought you were an ugly orc.
I thought you had a toy on.
You had a skin condition. Yeah. I thought it was your mystical visage. You're telling me you really look like this?
He's like pulling on your cheeks.
You heard it here first. Kalagos is maybe racist against the Pandaren? I don't know.
They're not a people! He shouts rather racistly. They're like a pet.
Although I will say, so I asked Wooly if he had done the storyline in the one in Pandaria with Kirigosa, right? And because like there's a distinct part of it where you effectively go on a date with Kalagos, right? Like to the tavern.
Yeah, because his whole thing, because Kyrigos is like, I don't really know. I love my house. And then Caligos is like, loving your house is super great, but you have a great house in the Azure archives. And she's like, tell you what, go to the inn and chill. And yeah, you and your boy Caligos, and in my experience, 70 other people, sit down for a brew.
Yeah, and then he does that thing that, like, is a sign of, like, this first date is not going to work. And by that, I mean he, like, trauma dumps everything on you from his past relationships, I think, is what basically happened.
Yeah, you get a couple beers in him, and he fucking starts talking about how sad his life is and how worried he is about everybody. And I'm like, geez, dude, this must be a good time.
Chen Bumblesnout is like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. It's just like, hey man, it's whatever gets him to be comfortable, I guess, whatever moves the plot forward.
Yeah, we gotta get into that seat of power quicker, you know?
But yes, at the very end of it, the very final moment is that Senegos he said, this is real cute and all, but guess what, guys? I just ran out of power. And this is why Slide has to check the ossuary on a break here, because he's like, guess what? I'm done. I'm dying now.
It was such a, like, it was funny because you think the story's over. Like you think it's done. Like, they're like, Syndragos is like, I'm leaving. And he's like, I'm the Blue King now. And then Syndragos is like, okay, everybody, I'm going to give the Blue Dragonflight a treat that they have not seen for forever. I'm going to fucking die. I was like, what the fuck?
Our boy Senegos was really like, y'all want to see a trick? And then he does a Kentucky flip into this laser beam and just kills himself into 1,000 little pieces. And then all of his children like collect his ashes, and they're like, Jeepaw, is this you?
Take him into the Oakland County wave pool.
Put him in the big bucket.
And then what's best is his eternal legacy. The last thing he'll ever be is a toy you get delivered posthumously that is just a fancier version of the Khadgar like magic ball toy.
He's like, finally, I won up that old bastard. Use mine instead.
do you have this thing? It's
Yeah.
literally you summon a tiny dragon, a tiny Senegos, and he goes, outcome uncertain. Ask again in an hour. And I'm like, I guess that's you, buddy. That's all you'll ever be.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys if you got these letters as well, because there were 2 letters I got in the mail after this that I just noticed before we started recording. One with that toy, and then there's another one that was from Kirigos, and it was a letter that was said to be delivered to Caligos. And I'm always respectful of these letters. I didn't open it. I don't know if you guys did.
I haven't even checked my mail yet. I just finished the quest like 10 minutes before we recorded.
Oh, I instantly opened that shit. I said, fuck you, Caligos. I'm gonna read your hot mail.
Well, what is it? What is it?
Well, Kirigos is basically like, hey, Calic, it was super nice to see you. Love catching up. I'm going to live here for the time being, but we're like super immortal and Pandaren society is mortal. So maybe things will suck here and eventually we will fly on the magic blue sunset of the Dragon Isles. So don't be sad, Kay.
Okay.
Also, another quick side tangent here. Specifically during the questing in Pandaria, my Eye of N'Zoth showed, but like that was the only place that it showed.
Well, it probably showed because of the zone.
Veil of Eternal
Yeah,
Blossoms
8.2,
technically is a BFA zone.
3.
Yeah, but it's still kind of far from where like that place actually was. But yeah, you're right though. I just thought it was interesting. A little
Yes.
tidbit.
And it did whisper at me, which I must have gotten used to because I heard it and I was like, and then I was just like, oh yeah, it's just my head.
Oh, I meant to Google this. Okay, so back to the Booty Bay quest. Again, I keep going back there. There were pirates on the ship that kept shouting. The voice acting, they shouted so many things.
Yes.
And some of them were saying some name was gonna get us. And it was like, it sounded like an old god octopus or a kraken. It was like Arupas or Ulu Octagosh will get you. And I'm like, who? Am I gonna fight this monster? And I meant to Google it at the time, but I didn't want to get spoiled. But then it never attacked. So is this foreshadowing, or is there just some old god or some old sea thing that they worship that I don't know about?
I just assumed it was some guy I had not met. Like, it's like, oh, Captain Octagon. He's a real piece of work. He's going to get you. And so, but yes, you are correct in that every one of them screamed it as they died. And especially once again, day one, thousands of them were dying a second. So it was a very loud ship.
I wish I knew what the name they said was. It was capitalized. It was a proper name. Like, they definitely either have plans or it's some like old classic lore that I just don't know about.
Well, I still need to do the quest on my hunter, so I will let you know.
Doing science for all of us.
Yeah, but overall, I really liked this storyline.
Yeah. Now, okay. So Senegos, why didn't he just go die in one of the dying rooms? I guess is my thing. But I guess he did say that he had extended his life artificially a bunch of times. He was like, I've extended my life a bunch. You could easily do it to me if I wanted to, but I want to do a Kentucky flip. So I must throw myself into laser beam to die. Like, is that the only reason why?
Yes, yes, like everything, he pledged. He made a pledge to his daughter that he would take care of his granddaughter until a new blue aspect was officially on the Dragon Isles.
Yeah, and like ready.
So yes, as soon as Kalik put on his big boy pants and put on the mayor's sash, he's like, okay, I am in such pain. I'm going to die now.
Which is true. Like, I also did the, like, quest text where I tried to convince Senegos not to do a Kentucky flip and kill himself. But, and I was like, yeah, I guess he's right. We did this already in Legion. We extended his life then. So, and, like, he said that, like, he didn't appreciate his duties until after the War of the Ancients. So I was like, this dude is pretty fucking old.
This little bit, he was like, yes, we support Dr. Kevorkian in this household. If we want to die, we have the right to do so.
Oh my God. Have you seen that, I'm using air quotes, controversy of that woman who's like, I'm making TikToks with my grandma the week before she gets her assisted death.
Oh, I mean, I saw those TikToks. I didn't see any controversy with it. But like that TikTok did cross my feed though.
People online were just like, oh, it's weird that she's like dancing with her grandma before she dies. But that is 100%. God, what was his the other blue dragon we were talking about? His actual granddaughter. She's making mystical WoW. Yeah, Stellagos is making mystical WoW versions of that. Hanging with my grandpa before he does a Kentucky flip. And it's just like her holding the phone while he's in the pit in Azuna. Yeah. Does it hurt a lot? Yep, there are crystals digging into my flesh. Oh my God, that's wild.
it gives me the vibes of that old Vine with the Justin Bieber song and the kid in the casket with his grandpa at the funeral home. or is he in the hospital bed dying? Which
She's just doing the orange justice while someone holds the camera as you see like his arcane sparkles go down into the land.
It's a good quest, great quest. You get rep, you get some flight stones, you get toys, you get a transmog. They kind of give you a little bit of everything to kind of entice you.
Yeah, you get Drake shards and also I think a cosmetic appearance for one of the Dragonflight mounts.
You do, yes. You get
spiky legs.
Spiky legs for the Slither Drake.
Leg.
And then at the very end, you do get the cape, shoulders, and tabard for the blue Dragonflight.
Hell yeah. I did the Rathian Black Dragonflight story, but I don't know if you guys want to wait and talk about that until you guys have done it.
I mean, so, okay, for the listeners, this is 7 out of 7, correct?
Yes, this is the end of the 10.1 campaign.
And this is what you can only unlock after you have a Sarkareth kill, or until, I believe, June 20th, which is when Sarkareth...
June 19th.
Come on, man.
Whenever it fucking comes out on LFR, which same week, that reset.
Yeah, so I killed Sarkareth last week. I plugged it because I'm an evoker. I want the legendary, so I'm gonna try to kill it. So I killed it. I only killed it on normal. I was thinking about doing the heroic run just to get it, but those pugs are gonna be a lot harder. When our guild isn't quite there yet, because Lynn, our raid lead, keeps having excuses on why we don't have 2 full raid nights. So we've been doing some like weird gimped raiding where we have 1 real raid night or 1.5 real raid nights.
And yesterday we did, like, for our second raid night, we did, like, Firelands time walking because I will say, like, the gear was nice too. I actually got, like, a good trinket out of it. The trinkets were nerfed, but it was still better than the trinkets that I had because my trinkets were dog water. But I swear to fucking God, like, our group was so, like, tense, like the tensest they've ever been. Everyone felt the need to explain every little mechanic, and then I'm like, my dudes, like, this is the equivalent of, like, LFR. We don't need to really worry about most of the mechanics here. Like, maybe if there's, like, a major tank swap, or, like, position it in a certain way so we don't all die, or, like, something, but, like, we don't need to hear your entire raiding history right now. Like, everyone was, like, at each other's throats to, like, try to prove that they were the biggest Kata raider back in the day, and I'm like, guys, this is like LFR here.
And then, to be fair, like, at the beginning, they were like, okay, vote yes on the raid check if you want to do it, and vote no if you don't. I hit no immediately. No, I don't want to fucking do fire. I don't care about the fucking Firelands. I don't give a shit. And then, obviously, everybody else hit green, and I was like, that's fine, I'll still do it. And then, it was Vegemite, someone was like, well, it's unanimous. No, it was not unanimous. I voted no.
I also waited for my vote to time out. So
you basically voted yes. You by not voting, you said yes.
No, it just means that I literally do not have a voice until the next election. I cannot speak.
So after you go Sarkareth, the questline honestly isn't really that long. Like the blue Dragonflight Caligos thing is, if I had to estimate, I don't know, 6 times as long as the end campaign. It's kind of weird.
I mean, Aaron can chime in too, but, like, I'm down to be spoiled on this.
I mean, yeah, I already was day one. Like, I was like, beans, I can't see this thing. Sees it.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's really, like, it's kind of things we already know. It's just kind of, like, just closing the chapter, because what you do is you end up going back into the Abbey. So you go back into the raid, and you're in the raid, and it's the exact same, except all the mobs are dead, or all the bosses are dead. And now there's, like, the Black Dragonflight forces are fighting what's left inside to clear it out. And it's kind of cool because you fight through it, and you're getting back to Sarkareth's chamber, and where his body is still laying, where we the adventurers killed him. And there's a bunch of people around him. Scale Commander Emberthal is kneeling, and she's like, "We will remember your name." And fucking Sibelian's like, why the fuck would we remember this guy's name? That's literally how he comes off.
Do you know how long it took us to get into this spooky chamber to kill him? Not let alone leave and then come back? Fuck this guy, kicks body.
I think Sibelian just hates all of the Drac theory. He's probably like, I barely remember your name, Emberthal.
But, like, she was real. She was like, because we will remember the mistakes he made and how we will never make those mistakes again. And I'm like, damn, why aren't you the fucking 5th aspect? Why aren't you the aspect, bitch? You're cool.
Why isn't she the aspect? Which, spoilers, she's not. Aaron told a fib.
She's not. I wish.
He dared to dream, but they didn't take a chance. Instead, it's like, well, one of us big cool dragon boys gotta be the aspect. And they turned to our 2 tan brothers, and they said, not us, Chief. Oh, yeah. We don't want it. We're not ready.
Okay, so this was really good. And I was, like, weirdly, like, emotional about it. And I'm like, I'm not even max rep with Raffion. Like, I don't do the keys. I don't go to the obsidian thing. Like, we are not besties yet. So the whole way getting to Sarkareth, it's like a buddy cop of, like, Sibelian and Raffion killing things. And Sibelian's like, look at all these freaks in here. Look at all these weirdos created by science, and they're all unnatural. And then Rathion's like, I was a test tube baby too. You're talking about me. And Sibelian's like, no, I didn't mean to call you. I'm so sorry. And it was, like, awkward and, like, endearing but weird.
Well, that's always been a part of his character, at least in Dragonflight. We never touched upon it, but in the lead up to this, but when you were attacking Aberrus, he's like, when you found the Slither Drakes, which, by the way, we have those. We never said it, but it's been 3 weeks. when you found the Slither Drakes, he was like, these weird fucking things will be great for attacking Aberrus because they can die. Just like all of the test tube children. And yeah, Rathion's like, that's me and my gang, right? And he goes, yeah, you can die so that me and all the natural born black egg babies can live. And then Abyssinian's like, that's real weird, bro.
And so that's
you're just saying that on main.
It's such a great dichotomy because you compare it to what happened in the Abbey after, and when Rathion's like, that's me, right? Again, Sibelian's like, oh fuck, I'm so sorry. He's like, I didn't mean it. We're brothers, and it's them kind of like, like being cool with each other. So they get to Sarkarat. Scale Commander's doing her thing. I'm kneeling with her. I'm clapping over Sarkarat's body, and they're like, okay, we need an aspect. Who's it gonna be? And they're like, Rathian. And he's like, I will not do it. It is not meant for me. This power, I do not seek it. I do not seek power. And Sibelian puts his hand on his shoulder, and he's like, neither do I. I don't want it either.
So basically, these are the reactions because of what they saw when we defeated the Abbey, like in the end cutscene, right?
Yeah, they basically saw like themselves in Sarkarat as like seeking power and what happens to those who power corrupts those who corrupt them, blah blah blah, whatever the saying is. And so then they're like, well, then who's it gonna be? And I love how good the in-game engine facial reactions have gotten, because Abyssinian's face, it looks so good. It's like a look of like shock, but like happy shock when he realizes that, like, he's like, it's me, because they're like, we know who it should be, and he's like, no, I don't want this. And he's like, I can't, I'm so honored, oh my god. It's like, it's a really good moment, because I love Abyssinian. I mean, he gave us our best line, right? No, I won't be doing that.
Which is basically what he said to going into the Abbey in the first time. He's like, no, I won't be going there.
And it's great. And so then all that happens basically. And then it's like, okay, let's go back to Valdrakken. And so we go to Valdrakken, and I guess there's two quests I didn't even notice. One of them was talk to Abyssinian, and the other one sent me on the Blue Dragon track flight that everybody else was starting on. So I thought that was the campaign. So I never finished the campaign until like an hour ago. I did the last thing. I was like, oh, fuck, I have one thing to do.
So, like, one is the Blue Dragonflight, and the other one was just Abyssinian becoming the aspect? Is that what, like, the end cap is there?
Yeah, so the end cap is talk to Abyssinian, and then he basically gets inducted into the Aspect Hall of Fame. And they're like, so fucking Alshos is like, okay, everybody gather around, the ceremony's beginning, blah, blah, blah. Like, we're talking, and she does, it's so cool. She does a citizens of Valdrakken, and she, like, shouts so everybody can hear it. It's all voice acted. And she just basically announces Abyssinian as a new aspect. And there's this cutscene which shows, like, all the fucking aspects. And she's like, we have gathered. And it's Abyssinian, it's Marithra, it's her. And then it's Nosdormu. And I'm like, okay, guys, maybe we should have taken this time to have him step down from the Supreme Court and have a replacement come up before it's too late, before he becomes bad again. Like, why are we allowing him to be on this council still? But then she turns to Marithra, and she's like, Marithra, do it. And Marithra does like a Pixar, like, whoosh, this magical spell, and she shows, I'm pretty sure, the new world tree that, like, it's more than sprouted. It's like got a huge trunk. It's like, it's not quite the levels of Teldrassil yet. It's like it's almost like Emigosa. It's kind of awkward looking. She's like, we will protect this with our lives. And it's like fully rendered cinematic, but like for 6 seconds, it's very quick.
So we don't have any information about where it is, right? Because at the end of the Green Dragonflight, like the story there was just Marithra becoming the aspect, and that they had a plan for planting the new tree, right? But we never found out where or when or its timeline. I guess it's already in like its weird tween phase, so soon?
And don't forget, because she's been real quiet about it, Ysera is here. She's on the Dragon Isles in the Shady Sanctuary, just chilling. So maybe it'll be revealed that she's been tending to the garden this entire time.
She's gotta be. There's I'm so excited. The minute that tree's fucking up, I'm going back to my druid. I'm fucking ready to go hang out there and just live in that tree. It was good.
But like in response to the Nosdormu thing, like he's getting his story progression soon, like in the next like half patch, right, with the mega dungeon.
Yeah, give him a month or two to sit up there and be real cool, and then as soon as like let's see here, like late July hits, he'll be like, "Oh my god, I'm evil now."
It'll be Chromie, right? Chromie has to be the one that replaces him. There's no way it'll be anybody else, right?
Morchi, obviously.
Tick tock. They sit on each other's shoulders. It's very cool.
And that's something that I think they need to do for all the Dragonflights is kind of give them that blue Dragonflight story. Because again, other than Chromie and Tick or Tock, can you guys name any more bronze Dragonflight people?
Well, there were a few that we were introduced to during the main storyline early in Dragonflight, but I don't remember their names because like that was the only time we saw them, right?
The ever-functional Zadormi, of course. She needs to get her flowers. She's been over here being highly functional for years.
I feel bad because, like, I know Marithra, and then I know she has her son of the dead green Dragonflight man, who's the Ubiquitous, something with a Y in it. And I'm just like, that's how I remember you? Son of?
You know what? I am doubling, tripling down. We need more stories because, yes, even the other ones, like Alex Straza, who else? Major
Corey
Domo
Straza?
Strelaza, okay, like, and they just introduced that one. Yeah, Corey Straza, I guess.
Red Straza?
Itchy Straza.
How could I forget about Red Straza?
Chorgas?
And Itchy and Scratchy Straza.
Train Gas Straza?
But oh boy, I bet you were thinking, what other news are they going to get to? Just damn near the episode, but we did promise it. The Diablo event is happening.
Yeah, so right before recording, there was an event that happened in Stormwind, and there's spreadsheets out there. I guess these things are happening all the time in various different places, possibly. I don't know. I didn't look at it. You guys just told me, go to Stormwind now. I'm like, okay, fine. So then I flew into Stormwind, and Aaron and I were in different phases, like different shards. And I guess these things spawned in different areas in Stormwind. Like mine was over by the docks, by the statue of the big lion over by the Stormwind docks.
And mine was at the base of the Mage's Tower. But I'm glad that it's instanced or sharded because there were probably like 50, 70 people there. As soon as, so the thing is, a hole to the Diablo universe opens up and a treasure goblin comes out. As soon as that boy hit the ground, my computer chugged.
Oh, my computer basically exploded, like, because everyone had all their toys out, so there were already too many particles before this, like, little goblin spawned. And then, like, when he did spawn and everyone started using their actual abilities, I was like, I'm just gonna run up into there, or try to run up into there and, like, try to use some AoE shit, try to tap target and put a dot on it, but it was so delayed. So delayed.
Yeah, I watched of you do it because I was doing the story still. I was in the hot springs with our girl, Halle, and Immune killed it, and then I watched him stand there for like 2 minutes trying to loot the small treasure goblin body underneath all the trampling feet of the people above him.
It was like almost impossible. I had to like wait for people to leave before I could even find the body to loot.
And you can get a whole number of fun cosmetics, amount, a pet, all relating to Blizzard Entertainment's newest release, or soon-to-be release, Diablo 4, on Xbox Series X/1, PlayStation 5, and PC.
I am excited. I've had this pre-order for a very long time, just for the mount mostly, and because I know I'm going to play Diablo. Like, I know I'm going to play it. And then it kind of just crept up on me. It's here. And I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, I gotta play.
I mean, I never pre-ordered it. I'm more so just excited for the in-WoW things that are happening, like, right now. I got, like, from this treasure goblin, like, some T-Mog, but then also a toy, which is a scroll. So can you guys confirm for me, is this the one that in the past you needed to collect the scrolls and combine them to make this toy before?
I'm 95% sure, but as somebody who doesn't have the toy or ever completed the scrolls, I guess I can't say with 100% certainty that is the one. But it's called Diablo Portal Town Scroll, so I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, I mean, like, the same. On my Hunter, I have, like, 9 out of the 10 scrolls. I was never able to complete it. So if this is that, then I'll be very happy, because, like, that dropped for me
is.
It has
today.
to be.
Yes, I'm looking at the Wowpedia here, and it says that it drops off the various rares from 2015 and Treasure Goblin 2023.
There we go. Oh man, so you can do this once a day to get your chance at loot. Also Tyrael's Charger has a chance of being in there, which I think is kind of fucked because they literally put Tyrael's Charger in the store like a month ago to buy. And like, okay, like when they had things in the store recently, it was like, hey, this thing might be in the trading post, just so you know. They didn't say that with Tyrael's Charger. They put it in the store, they charged for it, they collected their money, and then they were like, okay, now it's a drop chance.
That's kind of wild, isn't it?
It's giving me Overwatch 2 vibes.
You thought we
Okay.
forgot. We didn't forget.
We're heading on into a very quick end of the podcast, Underwatch. And, okay, so Sleepy Tony has gone into a coma because Overwatch 2 has announced that PvE is deceased. It has perished. The dream is over. The whole reason for creating Overwatch 2 is no longer there. Or at least the reason they told us. The real reason, apparently, is that they want to monetize it, you know? So, like, we have a battle pass.
My situation in this, having had some time to look at it, it sounds like they're just canceling this very specific mode where you ran missions that had like trees. And I was like, oh, just that? So there will be story missions, I'm putting up quotes, which is what I was interested in. So the blow is
There
lessened
probably
now,
won't be.
weeks
There
later.
won't be story missions. Let's be real.
Who knows?
There won't be story missions.
They claim it's coming next season, so it's not
Well,
a pie in
they'll
the
be
sky
like-
on that one.
I 100% guarantee you they're just going to do the thing where like their air quotes story missions will just be seasonal stories like the Halloween one. There'll be one next season, and every once in a while we'll get a new one that's like that, which is like what we've already had every occasionally, like with the Archives event or like the Omnic Crisis ones that we've already had.
Starwatch fucking sucked. Starwatch was a horrible event. It was so stupid. It was so dumb.
Starwatch did stink because there were specific heroes that were on different sides. They were not equal. It was much harder to be the rebels because Lucio and Baptiste just could not cut it in that like situation.
And then you're playing on a cannibalized Horizon Lunar Colony, a map they pulled out of the game, which I'm not really complaining about them pulling that map out of the game. Fuck that map for PvP. But it's like, okay, like this isn't even a new map asset. So like you guys are doing PvE quotes, but like what the hell have you guys been doing? Like what else? Like where is this work going? So these story fucking hero missions better be good and they better fucking be free, but they won't be. They're probably gonna charge for this shit.
And like the whole thing about the trees too, like I remember like at BlizzCon 2019, like we played actual story missions with like, I don't know, it felt like it was pretty far along. So I'm like, so what happened these last 3 years or 4 years? Like eventually some news is going to come out about this, and I'm very curious to see what the fuck it is.
How many heroes were available?
Well, we were in a group of I think 4 because like you, me, Tyre, and Papa Cheese all did it together.
I think it was Reinhardt, it was Tracer, I think it was Soldier, was it Cassidy?
Lucio, Genji.
Well,
and
I think Lucio or Mercy, I think were like, because like there was a healer. I don't remember what.
Tracers was awesome. Like there was one where like for each time you would dash forward, she would drop a fucking bomb like at the end of her dash, and like just that alone, that one talent was so fucking cool. There were so many other things, and they were just like, yeah, you know, we can't do that for everybody. That's crazy. And it's like, well, then why did you say you were gonna do it in the first place?
They had to have also known this for a while, you know.
Aaron Kellerman, the games director, did put out a lengthy write-up, sort of, you know, doing the old apology, but then also talking about internal development and sort of how they were trying to eventually get back to Titan using this system. This was supposed to be step 2, but it was too lofty a goal, air quotes. It's been a second, because I read it when he first put it out like 2 weeks
that's
ago.
pretty much what he said.
And so it's been a second, but it's worth reading, even if you hate it.
I read it.
Even if you despise everything. It's worth reading it just to get like an understanding of allegedly why they had to cancel.
It's just
PvE.
like one of the things he said just trust us that we will deliver. No, there's like zero trust. Like why would I trust you? Why? Like there's not really a reason to. You don't give refunds if people buy shit by accident. You charge $20 for skins, which costs so much more than a Fortnite skin for like what you get. Like the monetization is all out of whack. The battle pass, like, there's just so much going on that you can easily see why they're like, we don't have to do PvE. We'll just charge for everything else in this game that you guys can get cosmetically.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, everyone's frustrated, rightfully so. I am too. And yes, as you mentioned, I'm still fucking salty about that $20 that they never refunded me, even though I submitted several tickets about it, and it took them like a month to respond and be like, actually, we can't refund that. I'm like, why the fuck not? Your fucking dog water UI accidentally bought a $20 skin. I'm like, refund it. What the fuck?
But listen, you can pass the gnome now. You can pass the. Everyone loves pass the gnome, which is just play 48 games of Overwatch.
I've not done that event because I stand in solidarity with the community. Me and the Reddit army are boycotting it because I already got level 80 on the pass. So
also, it's not even a
I'm
fucking
good.
event. Like, they announced it as if it was an event, and it's just, like, it's under event. It's just 6 achievements under event where it's literally just, like, play 48 games or win 24 games.
Oh, for real?
That's it. Like, that's
Like,
it.
that's
It's not
it.
even like a mode. Oh, that's
Just regular Overwatch.
I mean, I guess it's better than being like play Bob and Weave because Bob and Weave wasn't fun,
Yeah.
and you knew it wasn't fun because they only made you not
dude.
even
Bob and
win,
Weave
just
sucked.
play. You only had to play it 3 times.
Ugh. All right, let's do our top 2 bottom boot, medium boot. Let's bring some WoW back into this. Aaron, what do you got?
Well, I have myself a top toot. And my top toot is that through our 1 day of raiding, I have accrued my 4 set of
Ooh,
tier
nice.
gear.
Damn, that's 2 mages with a 4 set. That's crazy. I wish some fucking other pieces of tier dropped.
Yes, and it is not as dramatically cool as years past, but the 2 set is Phoenix Flames, which is one of your linkers. You'll do more damage, period, for 4 seconds every time you hit them with one of those. And then the 4 set is if you have that debuff on the enemy, you get a chance to get Phoenix Flames back just for doing damage. Periodically, it will just give you another thing back. So you can really extend those combos. It's the best kind of tier set, the just functional and not interesting looking one.
Well, I'm happy for you, because that means one less person to compete for my tier set.
So you think I'm still rolling need on all of them. I need to get that T-Mog. That set looks too good.
Boo!
But Immunization, what is your TT BBMM?
Well, I think I have a bottom boot, unfortunately. And like, there's a lot that like was good this week, like everything we talked about the blue storyline, but this week also had our first tyrannical week in Mythic Plus season, and it's the same as it always is for us. Like, when we have our first tyrannical week of the season, we are at our lowest gear point. We don't have the new 4 set or 2 set for some of us even. We're like in between tier sets. We're under geared. We don't know the new dungeons. Tyrannical always comes around and smacks us right in the face and like fucks us up. We had some really bad dungeons last night. It was really rough.
Yeah, we had a lot of close. We were so close to killing the boss. Like, we were like 1%, 2%. We were just, and like if we had just had more tier drop, like just had more tiers for like, because I feel like the tier that dropped for us was Mage, Hunter, Druid. And then it was the Death Knight, Warlock, others, Demon Hunter, right? So like there was not a single piece of Evoker and who does Evoker share with? I don't even know. Monk, Shaman,
and Shaman.
The other one?
Yeah.
And Priest, I think.
That's a weird list.
Yeah.
But so like not one of those dropped, which is nuts. I have a 2 set, which is really good. But like all the other, like I don't think Myth has a 2 set yet. There wasn't a lot of sets dropping for everybody else, and so like we were just a little bit weak in there.
I was lucky enough to get 2 set this week, but it was because I took something from Vault, and then because Aaron and Ahoy already had the other piece and passed it to me.
What's great, though, is if you just do KSM, if you get 2,000, then you get to choose a tier piece. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, so it's that's why we're like trying to like push a little bit of rating right now to get that, and like hopefully next week I'll be able to get my 4 set then with that. But yeah, like keys are still rough. That's the bottom boot for me here. But Slide, what do you got?
I had a bottom boot.
Boo.
This is Evoker Legendary. I'm not excited because I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen what happened with Immune, with his bow. I'm going to be chasing this Legendary. So I've already given up on it. I've given up on getting the one-hander. I am going to craft the best weapon I can craft for my main hand and call it a day. Call it an expansion. I'm never going to get it. And I'm just not looking forward to not having it.
I mean, and if anything, like... might actually be worse than the Raz one. I mean, like, I did put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into trying to get it, and I never got it, which sucks. But, like, here, not only is, like, it's hard for you to get, if you do get it, it'll be very expensive to actually use, and you're just constantly assaulted with, like, raid warning messages wherever the fuck you are saying other people are getting theirs. I mean, like, at the very least, I didn't get messages saying, like, attention, everyone playing the game. Someone has a new Rasbo.
That's it. That's really what did it for me. I wasn't even in an area that should be announced at. Like, I'm like, wow, it goes so far across the Dragon Isles. I think I was in the Azure Span taking a picture, and it just goes, somebody got it. And I'm like, what?
No, that's the thing. We were in fucking Firelands time walking, and the raid warning went off. I'm like, what the hell?
So like I don't have a chance to even forget that it exists. It's just echoing through every Dractor's mind. Like, here it is. Somebody got it. It wasn't you. It wasn't you this time.
Yeah, it's real fucking rude.
Crazy. But I'm hoping my main hand will be good, and it will be fine. I don't need it. I don't need it.
Speaking of things we don't need, just kidding. Welcome to Opposite World, because we need great people to support us, like the people I'm about to say. Command Sergeant Major Chizurlo, 4th host of the Podcaster Monkey, Ahoy Vince, NSYNC/Drag Race, Azarin, Digital Dave, Mitch wants to remind everyone that Rathion isn't daddy, he's a literal child. Crucifix, Saracen Hawk, Sasha Sun Soup, Big Fat Ugly Bug-Faced Baby Eating Adorno says, I. Baby Gersh, Myth Gersh, Wooly, Big Bear 13, Adam N, Icus, Novadark, SSDB, Same Soup, Different Bowl, Vanderlyle, D. Gibson, Generational Talent, Smarfta, Base God, Slidewhistle says, and Will, aka Tire, Trade Chat's Fallen Father.
Do you guys have any comments, questions, emails? If you want to send me the Legacy of Najararubu, you can send it to donotRelentPod@gmail.com or to our Twitter @DoNotRelentPod. What about you two? Where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me, Alex, or Immunization, on Twitter @NewEraAlex. You can follow our podcast Instagram account on the gram @DoNotRelent. You can join our Discord by going to DoNotRelent.com, or you can join our aforementioned patrons by going to Patreon.com/DoNotRelent, where we will be releasing a new bonus episode that we are going to record after this episode.
Woo, 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 woo! You can find me, Aaron the Human, at TheBigAcheesy on Twitter.com. Read the show's literary musings at DoNotRelent.livejournal.com, and come watch me play Vigigrams at twitch.tv/AaronDNR. Maybe I'll do some this weekend, even though my in-laws will be in town.
Ooh, gaming. No,
No, that'd be rude. They have to drive 6.5 hours to get here. I should
get them on the stream.
All right, we're wrapped up here. Before we go, I have a really quick story about a farmer and his sick dog that was bitten by a rabid raccoon. He had to take his dog behind the shed. The farmer came back alone an hour later and said,
Another down! Do not relent!
Do Not Relent is a podcast within the 3HNC network, representing U.S. Proudmoore's premier podcasts.
That was a very good wish.